Well, I think I am alive. Yes, we're live at 5:55 on the Jason Bowen channel. And so I thought I'd do a video. I wasn't sure when I'd be able to fit it in, but I thought, well, here I am. I'm live and I've got a bit of time, so I thought I'll make myself a video and talk about when I used to do craft stalls, the mighty craft stalls that I used to do, which was pretty crazy because I was thinking, oh, I really need to put myself out there a bit more and sell some paintings. And I hadn't been painting very long at this point, and I was doing these little paintings like this size, tiny, like 8x10s, I think, and I did loads of them. And I was talking to somebody, and they says, "Oh, yeah, you do paintings? Oh, you should bring them to my restaurant and sell them off the wall." And I was like, "Oh, that sounds good." So I boxed up a load of paintings, took it to their restaurant, stuck them all around, loads of them. Imagine like 20 odd pictures, and only one sold. And but anyway, while they were all there, I entered to be in this on this craft, getting this craft stalls, and you had to like show your paintings, and then they would judge whether they want you to do a craft stall, which is ridiculous, really. But anyway, I took my paintings there, and they totally slated them for some reason. And then I got chatting to one of the blokes who was the president of the whole thing, and he was one of the main slaters. And I was like, "Oh well, we all have our own ideas, don't we, of what's good and what isn't." And he went, "Oh yeah, that's true." And then I ended up doing stalls, and so I started doing these stalls, and I found these paintings. You're going to want to know this if you're going to do craft stalls. These are the paintings that sell. Floral paintings, flowers. This guy told me that there was a painter on previously who'd stopped doing it, and he used to sell paintings of poppies, of red poppies, and they would sell, and he'd do really well. And I took like a few paintings of flowers that I did, and guess what? They all sold. So and the one painting I sold at the restaurant was flowers. So flowers, they sell. They sell. Hello, a line of keys. Is it keys? So I've got a drink on the go. It's hot chocolate. I didn't have any whipped cream or marshmallows, unfortunately. Yeah, so where was we? Oh yeah, so we're on the stalls and we're selling away. So you want seascapes as well. So I find people that want to buy a painting. They don't want to buy a big painting. Big paintings, they're going to take up too much room, and that's going to be a problem because not everybody has got a lot of room, but they've got enough room for a small picture. So the small pictures are good to do for craft stalls, and not only that, they're easy to transport. So you can have a big box full of paintings. And going back to the restaurant, of all the paintings that I have there, I went there one day and I took all my small paintings off the wall and stuck them in my box. And it was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Well, I need them for my my craft store." Any I don't sell, I'll bring back. Don't worry about it. Oh, crazy. So yeah, so I found floral paintings. They are sellers. And then I found seascape paintings. They sold well. And then waterfalls as well. That's another one that seems to go. Seascapes, waterfalls, nice and small. Nice and small for the wall. Small for the wall. And flowers. There's such a good one to sell, because flowers tend to go with anything, don't they? They tend to go with any design that people have in their house. And there's a lot of gardeners out there, me included. I like gardening. I like that comment. You are here, 0. Crazy stall stories. At least the flowers are easy to water. I like it. Well, yeah, flower paintings, they are easy to water. That could be a sales tip. You could do that as part of your pitch. Any interested in some paintings of flowers? Easy to water. You don't need your feed and weed with these paintings. Yeah, so I did this one stall, and I had I kind of split my stall into 2. I was selling paintings at one bit, and then I was teaching at another bit. So I was running over from one end to the other, going, oh, hello. And then I'd end up getting a class of people on my easels. Imagine about 6 people sat down, and you're going through a little painting. So I used to take little, same size really, 10 by 8 canvases. And I'd have all my 10 by 8 canvas people learning to paint this painting that I designed. Because I designed a few that I would teach. And then on this sort of area, there was paintings for sale. And then I was in this big marquee. Well, it seemed big. It seemed big to me, but it wasn't massive. It wasn't like the top tent of the circus or anything. A big top 10. It should have been, but it wasn't. But anyway, so I was in this marquee. It was absolutely drenching it down outside, absolutely chucking it down. And I was teaching this family, and there was someone else, and we was working on this painting, and then suddenly this gust of wind came into the marquee, lifted the whole thing up, started going across, and I was like, hold on a sec, grabbing the bars, pulling them down, thinking, yeah, because this wasn't my marquee. No one told me you had to stake it. It was partly built by the people that was running the place. And I was like, oh my God. And so everyone sort of grabbed hold of the bar to hold it down. And then this bloke came and he just shoved all these pegs in. And he was like, don't worry about it, I'll sort it out. And he was just a random customer. And I was like, oh, thanks very much. Hello, Designs by CAD Pro. And yeah, so yeah, that was madness. And then while I was teaching, so I found teaching black gessoed canvases really easy because people get an effect really quickly. So I had the black canvases already, and we was doing a waterfall, so I show them with a fan brush, get a little bit of liquid clear, a little bit of white paint, and they've already covered the canvas with like phthalo blue, and then they'd go whoop, and we'd do the waterfall. We'd all do it together, and everyone was like, "Whoa, yeah, this is amazing!" And we were all loving it. And then while I was showing people how to do that, I noticed in the corner of my eye someone's interested in a painting, and I was like, "Oh, oh no, how am I going to split myself off and try and get this painting sale to cover my costs? Because then it would cover my cost of like fuel and stuff. I think I got that stall for free for that one. I think they let me have it for free because it was chucking it down. and yeah, and I was like, oh no, how am I going to get this sale in as well as do this? And I could see her looking at the pictures and wondering how much they were. And I heard her say, I wonder how much these are. And I was like, oh, I forgot to put the prices out. And then I just pretended I didn't know anything about them. I just carried on teaching. I just couldn't be bothered. So I was so tired, and it was still raining, and I didn't know what to do with myself. I took on too much at that point. Teaching other people to paint is hard enough. You focus on that, not your stall as well. And yeah, it was a shame. Because afterwards I thought, if I'd have just walked over there, gone, hold on a second, painters, let me just make this quick sale. Hello, which painting do you want? Do you want fries with this picture? Yeah, but I missed on that sale. But that was amazingly, she wanted to buy a waterfall painting. Ah, waterfall. So I did this other one, this stall, and there was nobody came. So I went there with all my easels, set myself up for teaching painting, which I would only charge £5 each to do this little painting. And it's amazing how popular it is, though. And you kind of want it to be not as popular as it is, because what I didn't think about is selling paintings on these stalls. You're probably going to do better than teaching painting because of your focus. When you're teaching, your focus is solely on that, and it's hard to run your stall as well. So I found it really difficult to do both. But I was getting extra business out of it because people started seeing my teaching, and they was like, oh, he's a really good teacher. Oh, we can use him. And they hired me as a private teacher for some other people, and then I could charge them for a full day. And I was like, oh, that's isn't bad. So I was using it to build up my classes, because I was teaching Bob Ross painting then, and that was why I was promoting, to get people to do these little, I think they called it make it take it. And then you do these little paintings, show a bit of teaching, and then you do a big class, and you do like a day class, and you try and fill that up. God, it's hard work though. If anyone's taught painting before with the public, it is hard work. It is really good fun, but you have to focus on everybody. It's tough. I think when everyone's asking you questions as well, like, oh, what do I do with this? How do we do this? How did you do that? Who shall I answer first? But it's good fun. Can't say it ain't good fun. I found little kids. I like little kids to do it as well. They're not cleaning the brushes, so I used to think that'd be all right. There's like 5 or 6 year olds, and I'm not kidding. Some of these 5, 6 year olds could paint amazing. I was amazed. This one girl, I was teaching in a supermarket, and in the foyer, and I had all my. It was for charity, that one was, and I had all my easels set up, and and this group sat down, the family, and there was an extra girl as well, and they started painting, and this little girl on the end, her painting was amazing. I was like, whoa, she's really good. And the mum was like, "What about my daughter's one?" Oh, yeah. Oh, one of my aquariums turned itself off. Now I need to change that. I've got them all on timers. Yeah, it's my other hobby. Yeah, it's getting a bit crazy. My guppies have gone crazy. So, yeah, where was I? Yeah, and this one woman, she was going, "Oh, what about my daughter? What do you think? What do you think of hers? Do you think hers is good as well?" You walk around, look at the picture. Ha 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 ha. Oh well, she's done very well as well. Yes, yes. Nowhere near as good as her though. But I won't tell you that. Actually, the little girl on the end did a better painting than I did. Yeah, it was good. It was good fun doing that. And what I found as well, because you're doing like this teaching, you draw in massive crowds. I was at this other show. I think it was a car show, and they had a craft bit in amongst it, and that was mad. That was mad. I mean, people like their cars, and I didn't realise how much because there was loads of people, and when they saw me teaching and doing this painting really fast, they was like, "Whoa!" and everyone piled over. I had this huge crowd watching, and now I was painting away, teaching, saying, "Oh, now you do this," and yeah, that was really good. And I sold. Guess what I sold? A flower painting, a seascape painting, and a waterfall painting, all in the same one. And this bloke, he was 2 stalls down from me, and he was selling paintings as well. And he didn't do very well at all. And I think back now, because I've got a bit more knowledge on what I think sells. Not that I'm the best salesman, because I'm pretty awful, but I'm like the bumbling salesman that trips over stuff. And when he puts it in the bag, it sort of splits the bag. That kind of salesman. And well, anyway, he was he had all his display. He had his fancy display of his lights on his pictures. And I walked over. Well, check out the competition. There's this guy over here. He's flogging paintings. Let's see what he's doing. And I looked at his paintings, and I thought, "Oh, bloody hell!" Sorry, I didn't mean to say that. Oh my! His paintings are amazing. Um, and I walked back thinking, "Whoa, he's way better than I am." And I'll see how many he sells by the end of the day. And then as time went on, I sold 3, so I was quite happy because I taught loads of people, and that was like a £5 each, and that was like 6 people every round. And as soon as people stood up, people sat down. So it was a nightmare for me because it was like constant all day teaching, hard work. And I walked. Well, anyway, so I did my day, and I thought I was quite happy with that. Knackering, but happy. And then I walked over to see how many he'd sold. So, and all his paintings were still there. Oh, huh. Well, that's strange. And then a while later, I got this book on painting. I think it's Master in Painting or something like that. And all the paintings in this book, I was like, hang on a minute. These paintings, they're the ones I saw at the craft stall. And it turns out he had this book as well, and he just copied the pictures in there. And then he was selling them. Let's have a quick look at the comments. Chrissy Canvas Art. Hi, Jason. I used to do craft stalls and painting life at events. It's crazy. Good old days for me. Oh, well done. Yeah, craft stalls. Ooh, they are fun, but they're hard. Luba Zuckerman, Sean Jason, hello. From my easel, hi Jason, hope you're doing well. Have you ever had an artist block? How do you deal with it? Yeah, the artist block. Yeah, I'm having a block on this one. The artist block. It is a funny one. I have had it, but I don't get it now. I used to get it. I think the artist block used to hit me more on when I didn't know how to do something. I think now I could paint. I think I could paint anything. Right now, I think I could just get paints, and whatever it was, I could paint it, and that's only from a lot of practice. But I think I used to think, here's something that might be artist block. I don't know if it is, but I used to think every painting must be a masterpiece. It must make people think and feel. But now I think, I like that idea. I think I'll paint that. I think I'll do that one. I don't think like I used to. And I used to think like, God, I need to do something amazing. I need to do something brilliant. I want the world to be amazed at what I'm doing. And I think that can put too much pressure on the mind. And then the mind's going, oh, I don't think I can make it. I don't think I can paint anything amazing. And then, but now, like me, you'll probably notice, I painted a toilet. I saw a toilet. I thought it was gross, but amazing at the same time. Oh, well, I'll paint that. Where when I first started painting, would I paint a toilet? Would I think a toilet is amazing? Do I think the world is going to change if I painted a toilet? No. So I think that's the mental shift. I think artist block is there when you're really trying hard to create something amazing. Where when you don't think like that, don't think artist block exists in a mind like mine that's so beyond artist block. Let's have a look at the canvases. The canvases? Oh my god, I'm going crazy. Let's have a look at the comments. Do be hard on yourself. Chrissy Canvas Art, do be hard on yourself. Do be hard on yourself. I'm not sure what that means. Being hard on yourself. Don't be hard. Yeah. Don't be hard on yourself. Yeah. I think that's it. It's being very self-critical on your ideas as well. I mean, something else about ideas. Like we can be thinking, oh well, I got this idea of doing a face. Somebody recently painted this masterpiece of Nelson, and then Lord Nelson's head is in the rock. It is brilliant. I've never seen such a brilliant picture in all my life. The best oil painting I've ever seen, even in all the museums in all the world. Oh, that's what I did. Well, anyway, so I did that painting, but when I was coming up with the idea, I thought about doing it, and I thought I feel like I've seen a picture like this when I was messing around, and I was like, oh, I think there is something like this. And before going back to artist block, that would have blocked me. That would have made me think, Oh, I've decided something like this has been done. I'm not doing it. Right, let's cross that idea off. Right, what can I do now? I used to block myself with ideas that sort of like painting sunflowers. I would think, oh, well, Van Gogh's done that. Can't do that. Cross that off. There's nothing left to paint. Oh, no. There's another artist block for Jason. So that's yeah, that's a funny one, is that, isn't it? And so I thought while I was designing that, I think I've seen something. I still think in my head there's something like that. But anyway, mine is just as great. Let's have a look. Deborah Gray, hi there. From Jason from Boston. Hello. Is that Boston, England, or Boston, USA? I'm guessing USA. But it could be. Who knows? Jeanette Pedersen. Hi, Jason from Denmark. Hello. Which are my preferred paint brands from my easel? So let's say money was no object. Let's say if I had no money problems, I would always buy artist materials. I would always go for like Winsor Newton artist quality, Daler Rowney artist quality, Michael Hardin paints, their artist quality, and that's all I would use. I would not use any cheapos. I would not grind my own paints, which I do that. But grinding your own paints by buying pigment in a bag and getting linseed oil, cold pressed linseed oil in a bottle, and you put your pigment on the glass, pour a little bit of oil in, mull it away, and there you've got artist oils. That paint is just as good as any paint, in fact, probably better than any paint you can buy. So, but the lazy side of me says, well, you might as well just buy in a tube, aren't you? Get a tube of paint, just use that. It's going to be easier. But I'm really liking my homemade titanium white at the moment. It is amazing. It really is, because I can decide when I'm making it. My next paint, because I have to make it for each painting now, because I don't make big batches anymore, because I have to tube it up, and that's a big mess. Back in the day, when the old masters with the big beards, they would, yeah, Winsor Newton artist quality. Always artist. You can buy that everywhere. But anyway, oh, I've lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, back in the day when the artists had the big beards and they had their studios full of other painters, and they had the minion painters. And they went, excuse me over there. I don't know your name. I don't want to know your name. I'm the master. I don't care. Your dad gave me 100 doubloons for you to be in my studio, and you're going to make me paint. So back in the day, that's what they would do. They would have like these random minions in their studio, and they would mix paint for the masters. And they would do that. They would get the pigment, slop it on the glass, and they'd grind it away, and they'd make enough paint for the master, and then the master would get his palette, and he'd go, and he'd do the face, and then he would go, right, all you second-rate painters, you do the rest. I'll do the face and the hands, and that's it. Amazing that used to happen, isn't it? Amazing. That doesn't happen now. Well, as far as I know, I don't think there's any painter that's so high class that they only do the best bits and leave the rest for the lower end painters. But that's how they made their paints, though. And you know, their paintings are in the museum still, and I bet their equipment wasn't as good. I mean, a lot of the paintings, I should say, faded, because here's a problem with alizarin crimson. Original alizarin crimson fades away. So the pinks and the reds, the really nice tones that they spent ages putting in, has gone. Then again, this is years later, isn't it? So I was thinking about that the other day. Archival paints, does it really matter? Because like we go to museums and look at master paintings, and their paints, they're faded away. So why should we spend loads of money on archival equipment when you're probably not going to get in a museum? Well, I'm not. Some of you might. But let's say I'm probably not going to get in any museum. So what does it really matter? As long as it lasts 50 years, 60 years. I mean, if you sell a painting and it lasts for 60 years, I mean, that's pretty good. It's good for them, you know. If they think their investment's going to last 500 years. I wonder what people think when they're buying a picture. Will this painting last for 500 years? Or is this just a, 50, 60 years type picture? Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? Hey, did you see my fish shoal in them? That was pretty good. They're Rasbora hets. I got them. They were my first fish that I got for my tank, and they were like babies when I got them. And yeah, I want to do a painting of them, but it's really difficult to get a good photo. I might have to set my camera up and just leave it. That's a good idea, actually. I might set my video camera up and just leave it there, and then maybe I could get some stills. Because when I sit over there, they all go to the top of the water. Winsor Newton. I like Winsor Newton. I do. Yeah, so water mixable oils. I remember transferring to them because I didn't like using paint thinners, but then I found out you can get away with not using paint thinners anyway, using any oils. So then I just opened my my door to anything. Are you a full-time artist? No, I'm not. I'm not sure if I could be if I really pushed myself. Because I do get a lot of offers, but they're always like lowball offers, like low paid stuff. And I think, well, I might as well just do a YouTube video, and then at least that'll be on for ages. And well, YouTube's very low earning these days, but well, unless you've got 1 million subs. But my channel's growing. It's growing. It's always got time to grow more. Yeah, I really want to do a painting of fish. That's my next mission. I want to do some guppy paintings and some like rasboras when they're all together. I really want to do that. I did one painting of a platy when I was using my gouache, and I do plan. I was thinking I could set myself up if I put my webcam up here, pointing down. Then I could put like a little table, and I could paint live as well. So I'm thinking of doing live paintings. What if there's anyone watching still? Do you think live paintings would be of interest? and I mean live. So think about that while I ramble on about something else. So we're going back to the stalls. Oh yeah. So I had this big waterfall painting, and it was quite a good size. And I was and I first set my stall up, and everyone was sort of setting theirs up. And this woman came over, and she's like, "Oh, that's a nice picture." And I jokingly said, I think I said something like, "Yeah, it's for sale for $2,000," as a joke. And she walked away really offended. And the worst thing about that was, she actually had money out ready to pay. See, I'm the worst salesman ever. I'm like, I kind of look at the gags and think, oh, look, this would be a funny gag, rather than, oh, damn, I've just offended someone. My gags are always like really rubbish, but yeah, she was like, zip. I'm not buying that. Not after he said that. Then when I walked because she had a stall, and then I walked around and looked at her stall, and she goes, "Oh, are you going to buy anything of mine?" And I was like, looked at it. It was all like crocheted stuff, and it's quite nice, to be fair. It was quite good for crochet, and I said, I was just like, no. And then I walked back to my stall, and I thought, yeah, that showed her. I missed out on about 60 quid there, because I could have probably sold it to her for that, but never mind. The bumbling salesman. Terrible. Yeah. So what else random happened at these selling events? I always, when I think about them, I always remember the one when there was nobody, and I was just sat there like, oh my god, what am I going to do? How am I going to rustle up some business? And then I thought, I know, I'll just message all the people that have been to my classes. And some people turned up, and I was doing mini lessons, and then before you know it, my little area started to get busy, and then I was doing classes for the people because there was no one in there. All the stall holders were sat down doing a class. So I was teaching all the craft people how to paint. There was all kinds of people, like woodwork people. There was like cake decorators. So they were all creative people, and there was all in, and jewelry makers and stuff like that, and they were all there learning to paint. So that was quite amusing. How I've gone from like the lowly stall, and then suddenly all the big wigs of craft were now my students, and I was telling them what to do, which is kind of fun. It was quite fun actually, because they were really natural, because they were already used to making stuff. I think when you're used to doing crafts, you're already going to be quite good at painting. Yeah, I'm pretty sure when you got a craft mind, I think you turn your hand to other crafts, because it's all kind of in the same. Saying that, I don't think I could knit and stuff like that, so maybe not. I've seen my mum doing things like that. I was like, whoa, don't know how people can do that. It's really complicated. But yeah. So what was we on? What was I going to talk about? Oh yeah, the craft stall. Yeah, so can't think of anything else to say on the craft stall. So I might. What I'm thinking, yes. So you are thinking yes for the live painting. I'm thinking yes to live painting as well. I'm thinking I'd probably have to do gouache and watercolor just to get warmed up on doing a live, and then if that works out, I'll move on to maybe doing some oil painting. So I think I could do it. I might test it. I might test using OBS and then record myself painting, and then using that and see if it works. And then I'll just randomly set up and do it. Be like, hi, kind of like the way I do this. Don't tell anyone and just turn it on and go. Because I think if I was going to do an actual painting, then I could have a reminder for people maybe. I don't know. It's hard, this live malarkey. You have to work it out around whether you've got the energy or not. Yeah, so I will do that. Yeah, so yeah, something else I was thinking. Probably instead of doing like oil paintings, what I could have done for craft stalls, if I think back now, well, for one, I wouldn't use canvases. I would use canvas boards or paper, because you can get oil painting paper, and then I could have framed them, and then they would look even better. Because if you're painting on canvas, in canvases, it's harder to get frames that fit them because of their thickness and stuff. Where if you get a canvas panel, canvas board, canvas panel, then you can just put that in a frame and you're away, you're done. And it's amazing the difference between a painting framed and a painting unframed. The difference is massive. And I noticed that when I was painting a lot of people's dogs, and oh, the dogs, so many dogs. I think I could be a full-time artist if I was painting pets. Oh man, the amount of people that want their pets painted. Do you ever not finish paintings and they collect? Oh, that would be funny, wouldn't it? Half finished. Oh, there you go. If that's what you mean, I'm not sure. Yeah, I think when I was doing dogs, and this lad bought this painting of one of his dogs. I did loads for him. He had loads of dogs, and his friends had dogs. Everyone had dogs, and suddenly I was doing millions of dogs, and yeah, and I gave him his picture, and he went, "Oh, that's not bad." And I was thinking, not bad. I spent ages on that picture. It looked amazing. But then he went and bought himself a frame, and then he put it in the frame, and he looked at it, and he was like, this is really amazing. This is amazing. Look at this. And I was like, well, it's the same. It's just inside a frame. Interesting. So I was like, oh, well, I guess that's the way to do it. Frame the picture, and it looks $1 million. Where if you don't have it framed, maybe it just looks like 20p. JB, really missed the Bob Ross style you did. That's what drew me to watch, and I still go back and watch those. I was thinking the other day, this was one of my thoughts, because I got a message off the Bob Ross company, and they said I could buy Bob Ross supplies and have them posted from America to here. So that made me think, because that was my issue. I couldn't get supplies, and I mean, I could make it, but it'd be such a problem. I'd have to mess around mixing paints to get the consistencies of the Bob Ross paints. But I was thinking, if I bought some more gear and did like one episode every so often of the old school Bob Ross style, 30 minutes, would that be of interest? It's my other thought of doing a sideline wet on wet paintings, and also what I always do, my type of painting as well. What's your thoughts on that one? Would love to know how you do your camera setup painting. So nowadays, actually, my setup is this. Here's can't see it. Let's see. I can use this. I have a camera there over my shoulder looking at the canvas, and then I have a camera, say, a bit further back, one here, and I go, hello, welcome to my episode. And at the moment, that's all I have, because I used to have a camera looking at my palette like there, a camera there, a camera on that side, a camera on the other side. I have about 5 cameras. And when it comes to editing it, my computer would go, oh, there's so much footage of the same person painting in different angles. I can't compute. So I ended up just getting angles and just doing 2, one on one side and one behind me. And it's easier to set up because you've got to think. This is the thing about YouTube. This is the thing about life, really. How much time can you put into video editing? How much time can you put into filming? How much time do you have to set up? How much space do you have? What about the lighting issues? What about all these things? And then at the end of the day, it is a hobby, because YouTube is really, it's not going to earn you much money. I think a lot of YouTubers have disappeared because the revenue has gone down, and the reality is it is down, it's low, and that's why they keep introducing things like memberships and super chats and other stuff that they introduce, because they know there's a load of YouTubers that are going, I can't afford to make videos on this. What's going on? Oh, why don't you do this? And then you can earn some more money. Or why don't you do that? But, you know, it's a tough world on YouTube. And then you get people hating on us. How many aquariums do you have back there? From Alahajan. I have 3. So I got that one originally that's right behind me, because I was watching Aquarium Co-op, and because I used to have aquariums before, and I was really getting into it. I was getting really excited. Yeah, get an aquarium again. So I got this aquarium off eBay, really cheap, and had a couple of gouramis in there, and some rasboras, which are now down there, and some platies, which are now down there. Unfortunately, my gouramis didn't make it when they went from this tank to that tank, the bigger tank. This is a bigger tank, and it was set up with old media and everything. I did everything by the book, but the gouramis didn't make it. And I did find out that because they were dwarf gouramis, I don't know whether it was that or not, or it was just me being a rubbish fish keeper. But they died. Could have been dwarf gourami disease. Could have not been. Could have been just me being rubbish. But I did my best and they died. But my rasboras are all okay, and my platies are all okay, and my cories are all okay. Everything else is fine. You've even got neon tetras in there. And neon tetras, people say are hard to keep, and they're all right. But in this tank, behind me, that's got guppies in. And I was at the, because I emptied that tank out of fish, and then I put them in there. And I was like, oh, now I've got a spare tank. And I was at the aquarium, and they had these amazing guppies with long fins. I think they're called Dumbo ears. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna paint one of those. And I ended up getting a few of those, and they started breeding like guppies. So then there's this sort of little tank, which was my quarantine tank. And I put them in there because there's so many babies in there. I put them in there, and because of I've just realised this isn't plugged in. Oh, my audio must be going through the other mic. This is just a show mic. Ah, well, never mind. Yeah, and then I caught a load out the other day and put them in there, and yeah, and because of all what's been going on, the aquarium place hasn't got many fish, so I thought I'll save some and then I'll try and flog some to him. Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. That was mad. I took YouTube to the mad zone where you have 5 cameras. I think I kept thinking, oh, I did one episode and my head kept getting in the way every time I was going like that when I was painting, and I was like, the whole video. So that video never got made. I actually painted these brushes in this pot, but the video was literally the back of my head for about, it lasted about an hour, and the back of my head was a good 50 minutes. So that video was no good. And but the painting came out so well, and it would have been great. My phone started buffering right after you read my comment about Bob Ross style. Personally, I would love that. I painted more of yours than his. Oh, yes, that's because I'm so amazing. Bob Ross is amazing. Bob Ross and Bill Alexander, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of their pictures. Not sure why I'm talking into the fake mic anymore. Deborah Miller says, hi there, how are you? I'm pretty good, thank you. I've had my hot chocolate, so I'm all happy. It's all about the hot chocolates. Nice storytelling, badges. You know, sometimes I think I should be a storyteller. Deborah Miller, I painted your still life painting of the Coca-Cola bottle and glass. Nice. Nice work. I liked painting that, actually. I keep meaning to do another one. I really do. I like Bill Alexander. He is the angry German Bob Ross. No, Bill Alexander's the original. But yeah, I know what you mean. I absolutely love it when he starts going, rah, fire it in, rah, rah. That makes me laugh a lot. I've got his brush. Oh, look. Here's the Bill Alexander 2.5-inch brush. Let's fire it in. Ah! No mercy. Yeah, this brush is waiting to be used. I need to get some. I need to really think about this. I need to work out how I can film myself doing the wet on wet could I just do it the way I am doing it? I think I'm quicker at painting stood up, so I might need to bring my old Bob Ross easel in, and then yeah, that's what I'm just talking about. Are you going to do any more Bob Ross style paintings? I remember watching your videos when you had the long hair. Get some Bill Alexander paints. Yeah. Yeah. Which brush is better for oil paints, hog or synthetic? I'll answer that question really easily. Any. If you're doing like the Bob Ross stuff, then you're better off using the Bob Ross stuff. I mean, it's simple as that. That's what I found. But if you're not and you're just painting, especially the way I paint, it doesn't matter what brushes you use. It really doesn't. As long as it's got some hairs on it and it's not going to just fall out, that's good enough for me. Because when you think about it, when you're painting, say you load even that brush, oh, it's got a bit skanky, that one. But if you think about it, if you load your brush with paint and the paint sits on your brush there and you're painting away, then it doesn't actually matter how good the bristles are, whether they're synthetic bristles, whether they're hog hairs or whatever else they use. I can't remember. These animal hair. What is it? Ming? No. I can't remember. I can't remember. It's on the tip of my tongue. Yeah, but it doesn't really matter because the idea is, I mean, if you watch me, I scrub the paint in. As long as these hairs don't fall out, that's all I care about. So I scrub it in, and then after that, I'm really light. So you could be using any kind of brush, as long as it's light, it doesn't matter. Horsehair, yeah, there's something else that's really fine. I can't remember it. But yeah, to me, these are the brushes I use anyway, mostly. Oh, this is a Bob Ross filbert brush. I do use a lot of the filbert brushes, and I use a lot of these cheaper brushes, which are Daler Rowney graduate brushes. Now they're good enough, and I use a watercolor brush. I use the soft brush sometimes. This is quite good to make things softer. But really, it doesn't really matter. I think the art shops would like you to believe that these brushes, these really expensive brushes, are the only ones that are going to get you the best painting, because they want to sell them to you. But really, I mean, these brushes, how much is a filbert brush? £2.50. £2.50, and I use them, and I'm the best painter in the world. Well, not quite, but I'm the best painter sat on this chair right now. That's for sure. But yeah, so the art establishment won't like me, because I'll be honest and say that the brushes, you don't need these really expensive brushes that they try and flog you. They go, oh, this brush, oh yes, Michelangelo would have used a brush like this. We'll sell you it for £500 or 80 quid or whatever. That's too much. But really, yeah, I paid £2.50. £2.50 What's that in dollars? £2.50. Is that $4? $4 a brush? $5? There we go. Hi Jason, could you please do a Bob Ross style wet on wet magic white or magic black woodland scene in a future video, please? I take that challenge. I'll do that as my first Bob Ross styley, Bill Alexander styley painting. Yeah, so I don't go for the expensive brushes. My most expensive brush is probably that. But you pay for all the brush strands. Yeah. Deborah Mills, I use Gamblin 1980. Wow, they must be old brushes, made in 1980. I've heard of Gamblin. They're a good paint brand. They're an American brand, aren't they? I've heard of them. I think I've heard of them via Brandon Schaefer. Randy Lenz. What's he say? Jason Bowen. That's very similar to Jonathan Bowden. Do you know who he is? Jonathan Bowden. Sounds like a news reporter. A great man, in my opinion. No comment. Don't answer. Do not answer. Not worth it. Yeah. I haven't done a series in a while of the Bob Ross styling series. So it'd be quite good fun to try something like that. I just need to work out the setup, and then I've got the issue of brushes, because you know I don't clean them. I think I could work it out. If I have enough brushes and I have a really big bottle of linseed oil mixed with clove oil, I could start a new fad. The paint dries very dull. How do you get the colours more vibrant? I find paint that dries dull is usually acrylics. Are you using acrylics? Because acrylic paints dry well. I know then the brands are better than when I used to use them, but when I used to use acrylics, I found they dried about 2 shades darker than they were when they were wet. Where oils, I don't think they go dull. They do change slightly, but when you can oil it out, like you get a bit of linseed oil, and you over the painting, that can revitalize it sometimes. And then varnishing also can revitalize a paint. So if it's dry and dull, it might be because of that. So you might find when you varnish it, it becomes a bit brighter. JB said, I would even send the supplies to you. You have proper ventilation for oil painting. I have a window, but I don't use any paint thinners, and I don't use any other thinners or anything that will cause my lungs to experience an unhealthy environment, because all I use to clean my brushes with is nothing. That's the problem with oils, is if you're using solvents, and solvents are airborne, and then you breathe it in, and then it causes problems. So if you take out the solvents completely, so no solvents, there's nothing going airborne anymore. So happily painting. Does our username matter? What do you mean by that, Randy Lens? Does you going through? Oh, bot. Weird to think that each of these people in the chat, etc., are actual people. Maybe a bot. Yeah. I think, say if it's for doing a YouTube channel, if you're thinking, oh, I'm going to make a YouTube channel, does my name matter? I think it can do. I think people now go with just their name, where before it would be like back when YouTube was first starting, there was Jason Bowen Films, Jason Bowen Productions, JB Productions. But now we all just go with our name, don't we? Strange how YouTube changed like that. Yeah, acrylics do dry duller from my experience. Tilda Banwell, and now for something completely different. In which part of England do you live? That is interesting, because I live in Lincolnshire. I live in the Shire, Middle Earth. Yeah, I live in the Shire. There are a lot of hobbits everywhere, and I haven't seen any trolls recently. And it is. I think I had a question. Are you self-taught or did you take classes? I am mixed. In a way, I've had a lot of classes, but it's just been via a computer screen. I've not had many classes. I did go to when I was training to do the Bob Ross wet and wet technique. I went to a few courses to get the certificate, and we went through full paintings from start to finish, which was good fun. And that's all. The rest is just by sheer working hard and well, pretending to work hard, sweat pouring off my brow as I'm painting. Well, this is hard work. When you're interacting with us, do you project a mental image of a person you're speaking with? Good question. I'll think about that one. The Jason Bowen, the Invincible. Yes. Jason Bowen, the Invincible, from the Shire. Deborah Mill, I have a family in England. Cash K, I'm a pro painter, live in Middle East, I do with oils. There's a question which has been daunting on me for 6 months now. Here I always sold, but for 6 months now, I haven't managed to sell any. Yeah, that is interesting, because that does happen though. I think it's especially at the moment, I'm not sure if it's over yet for people, but a lot of people are holding on to their money, especially in the UK. What I found is people were holding on to their money because they didn't know what was happening because of the way things were or are. And then there's another thing. It depends on trends and what people are buying. I mean, like I said earlier in this video, I'm the worst salesman ever that you could come across. I'm the bumbly, rubbish, thinking of gags selling that may or may not offend somebody by accident. I'm the worst seller ever. I think every sale that I've ever made has been an accident. I learned from YouTube. I think a lot of us painters learn from YouTube. Hey Jason, I thought your short film Clenmore. Yeah. Yeah, there's no more productions in the pipeline. They were fun to make though. Actually, when you get into YouTubing, you start thinking, oh, well, I can do painting videos. Maybe I could branch out and do other things. But actually, it's quite difficult to get people to star in your movies, especially when you have a zero budget. And are there any YouTube artists you follow or have met? Yeah, I follow. Well, I've met Clive Powell. May or may not know. I've met him a couple of times, and because I knew he liked the Bob Ross stuff as well, I thought it'd be a good one to chat to, and we just have a laugh. We message quite a lot. Brandon Schaefer, I messaged because we all did a bit of painting challenges and stuff, and Larry Hamilton joined us for a bit as well. But unfortunately, because there was a period where there was a lot of issues in all of our lives almost at the same time, it got broke off. But yeah, I follow quite a few. I went through a period of following Will Terrell on, and he was doing people sketching. This was a few years ago. I don't think he makes videos now, but he was really interesting to watch. And obviously, watch Bob Ross, Bill Alexander. Bill Alexander's channel now. If you're not subscribed to Bill Alexander's channel now, subscribe to his channel. It's so good at the moment. There's so many new videos. I'm loving it. I'm such a Bill Alexander nerd. Are there any YouTube artists you follow? Julie drops. Hi Jason, hope you're okay. I loved your painting you uploaded yesterday with the head silhouette and rock. Thanks very much. I really like that one actually. I really like that one. You know when you do a painting and you think, I really like that. I really want to own that one. That's one of the ones that I really liked. Maggie Tattersfield, I've just joined and I actually think your work is much better than the work of Bob Ross. You know Bob Ross when he filmed, you probably know. I think you may know. If you don't know, this will be interesting. But if you do know, this won't be interesting. He pre-painted his painting. So he'd already done his painting and his design and he's done a really good job. And then he puts that at one side. And then he would paint the one for the show and he would look and he'd do his painting. And then he'd paint it again for his book. So he's done it 3 times. But I used to think that he was painting it just there and then. So when I did mine, this is true, all mine were painted there and then. I didn't even practice them because I thought Bob Ross didn't. And I thought, oh, well, if Bob Ross didn't, I won't have to. So I used to just paint paintings straight out of my head. thinking that's the way to do it. And then I think later on, I would just do little sketches of an idea, and I'd put that on somewhere just in case I forgot what I was doing. Because I did have a couple of episodes when I was doing them, and I was in my nan's garage, and it was freezing as well. And I was doing, you'll see some of my old ones, and I've got like 2 coats on. What you do to make videos, eh? And yeah, I used to have a little sketch, and I'd just go, look at my sketch. How about Kevin Hill? I've seen Kevin Hill on YouTube a couple of times, but not really for me because he edits his videos. I prefer seeing the whole process. So it's not really for me, but he's obviously a very talented painter. If talent exists, I don't think talent exists. He's obviously painted a long time to get good at painting. Justin Wozniak. No, I've not heard of that one. Sounds good though. Sure, it's very good. No, I've not heard of that one. I like Nathan Fowkes, who I did an interview with. His paintings, I really like his paintings, and there's loads that YouTubers though that I can't really think of many on the top of my head that I religiously follow other than Bill Alexander. He's the main one that I follow now, because I've watched all the Bob Ross ones. I do go back and watch a couple, and be interesting how my half-hour shows go now after I've done a lot of other stuff. Would I get trolled with hate again? Be interesting, because there's a new guy in there on the Bob Ross channel. He's done a couple of paintings. Nick, he seems pretty good, but we'll see. I'm gonna experiment on doing that, and we'll see what happens. It might work out if I can get what I'm thinking. It's a bit of a challenge, but I was thinking if I can video 4 in a row, then that would only be 2 hours of painting if I do half an hour at a time, and then I'd have 4 pictures, 4 videos, and I'd just release all 4 in one go. You know, like Netflix does a whole series. I could do that. I could do like 12 episodes and then just go, boom, take that, YouTube. Here's 12 episodes, and then see what happens. That'd be interesting. I've not done anything like that. I've always wanted to do something like that, where there's a load of videos that you just go, like Netflix. I might do it like that, actually. So yeah, sounds like you were interested in that. So I'm gonna work that out. I might go and dig out my Bob Ross easel, and then figure out how I'm gonna do it. I think to start with, I'll probably have to make my own paints, and then I'll just make a stack of paint, and then we'll see what happens. I think I've got some liquid white somewhere, and I've got liquid clear. Yeah, so we'll work that out. So coming soon, at some point. When, I don't know, but soon. I need to work it out. And also I'm going to start doing live videos as well, where I'm actually drawing or painting, which if you're interested in lives, then that's coming up. And I'd like to say thank you very much for listening. I didn't think I'd be able to speak for over an hour. I thought this was going to be a short one, and my mic's not even plugged in. It's just a show mic. Just a show mic. Maybe I should do story time with me, and I'll read about Van Gogh. So I could do. Other artists will rise up in this lovely country and do for it what the Japanese have done for theirs. Anyway, I won't do that. So thanks very much for watching this live, and if it wasn't live when you're watching it, thanks for watching this not live. And why didn't you show some of your paintings and tell people how much it costs, so people don't feel embarrassed if you tell them it costs way more than they afford? Yeah. That's a good point. Where you know, when I said I'm the worst painting salesman in the world, well, let me answer Mariana McCary's question. Where can we buy your paintings online? I'm far from the UK. Right now, nowhere, because I've got my paintings that I've done on a drying rack, and I was waiting for them all to get to a dry state so I can varnish them all in one go. And then I was going to start putting them on Facebook, but I've got quite a lot now, so I need to do something like an online art shop of sorts. Robin Orifice, lol, a bit. Maybe I'll read more. Only joking. I will sign off on this broadcast. Thanks very much for listening. Can you talk in another episode? Talk about plein air painting? Yeah, I'll do that. That'll be my next episode. Will be about plein air painting. Good idea. Thank you very much, Tilda Van Mal. No, sorry. It's been retracted. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you at another one. Bye, everybody. We are exiting the stream.